Hello and good evening once again. Thank you for joining us on the UBC News Tonight with me, Wadulo, Arnold, your news anchor, Mugalu, Mohammed on sign language, and these are tonight's top stories. In our headlines tonight, Olanya picks nomination forms for the job of Speaker. Furthermore, MPs to vote for Speaker and Deputy Speaker on Monday, 24th of May, 2021. In another development, UPDF officer sentenced to 35 years over murder. And in sports, Team Uganda gets Absa boost ahead of the 2020 Olympics. Once again, thank you for joining us, and we now give you the news in detail. In our top story, a cross-section of members of parliament has expressed the need to restore what they term as dignity of the National Assembly for proper legislation. This concern comes at the peak of a seemingly heated speakership race, with Rebecca Kadaga seeking to retain her seat as Olanya seeks to unseat her. Now, this was during the prayers dedicated towards the success of Olanya's speakership bid held at Sheraton Hotel in Kampala.
Honors God.
Prayers have been held.
That there's going to be a total change in this country.
And spiritual dedications have been advanced.
Father God revealed to me that Olanya will be the Speaker of Parliament.
A section of members of Parliament have converged to show solidarity with former Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Olanya.
It is Jacob and Olanya. Timo J.O.
This makes it not a secret anymore that Olanya's bid for speakership is backed up by some members of Parliament. As prayers were held, it was not lost on these legislators that the dignity of Parliament requires restoration.
We are here not because we don't like Kadaga. We are here because we love Uganda more. We need stability for this country. Our motto is for God and my country. You must ask yourself, why are the reverends, why are the priests, why are the bishops telling you support Olanya?
As for the concern of gender empowerment, some members of parliament disagreed with some candidates advancing this factor.
The women of this country are already benefiting on the policy that His Excellency, the President, has put in place. And that Right Honorable Kadaga has been a beneficiary of the policy. And that as women, we will continue to support the policy that is for all the women, all the girls, but not for one person.
To re-energize these legislators in this cause was outgoing government chief whip Ruth Nankabirwa.
I am praying that Olanya takes the chair, so that other people who would like to become speakers will learn a lesson.
As part of this prayer dedication, she wants to see what she describes as progressive leadership at the Ugandan parliament.
The tension is too much. You do things not because you are enjoying, but because they will lump me, they will put me on the other side. I will miss out on this trip. I will do this. Excuse me, that must stop.
In agreement with Nankabirwa was Bright Rwamirama, the member of parliament for Isingiro North. He says new leadership will breathe new life at the Ugandan parliament.
Our motto is for God and my country. We are not associating, and we pray that we don't associate ourselves with people who associate themselves with shrines.
It is no longer a cause for curiosity, but an open book for all to see that Olanya wants to be the next Speaker of Parliament. But why support Olanya against the incumbent, who is also seeking re-election?
We don't just want a change in leadership. We don't just want a new leadership. We want to see a new parliament and a new parliament which is for Uganda, of Uganda, and with Uganda.
Why I'm supporting Olanya? Because my primary candidate is Honorable Anita. So if Olanya passes, we have higher chances of Anita passing.
It remains to be seen whether the Saturday sitting of the Central Executive Committee of the National Resistance Movement will zero on one candidate. But just in case they do, will it be Olanya or Kadaga? Henry Okrut, UBC.
Furthermore, the National Resistance Movement Vice Chairperson for Northern Uganda region, also Member of Parliament of Moro County, Jacob Olanya, has expressed interest in the NRM party for the Speaker of the 11th Parliament. Olanya will now face off with his former boss, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga, in the party structures for endorsement before the final race election, which is set for Monday, 24th May 2021.
Jacob Olanya has finally sought for his party's support to contest for the post of Speaker of the 11th Parliament. He arrived at Plot 13, Chadondo Road this Friday amidst chants and dances from supporters who were mainly members of Parliament.
Congratulate you, Honorable Jacob Olanya, for successful expression of interest for the post of the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, 11th Parliament.
Next was his address to the media.
We want the story of the 11th Parliament to be rewritten. We wanted the story of the 11th Parliament to be retold. Yes. We want children to sing praises about the Parliament of Uganda. Yes. That's what we want to achieve. The situation has not been good. The country has resented Parliament and its members. We want that to change. Yes. And that change must happen. Yes. We certainly do not want the next 5 years to be like the last 5 years of Parliament. We want to restore confidence of our people in the institution where they send their representatives in.
Olanya recalls the party's promise, and it is on this that he anchors his candidature for the position.
To allow the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga finish our 10 years just like our predecessor, because that's what she had requested. Tell them the truth. Tell them. True. So you, Jacob Olanya, you are still young. I was not young then, but I said so. Your time will come. So let the Right Honorable Kadaga finish our 10 years, then you come. And now I have come. I say I have not picked forms or expressed interest to be anything else but Speaker.
Although the final decision will be taken by the party's structures, Central Executive Committee and the party caucus, the Omoro MP is waiting for an offer of a mandate from his party.
But as for me, my offer is simple. I offer to the Parliament of Uganda potential as opposed to history. So SEC will take a decision judging on history, yes, but what is the potential that comes on the table? The history we know. The potential we understand. Potential gives hope. And it is that hope that I'm sure will guide the Central Executive Committee to give a chance to this 11th Parliament to do better than it has done before.
Other party NRM members who couldn't miss out this final day of expression of interest for the positions of Speaker and Deputy Speaker in the 11th Parliament were Federal Sachikubo.
This time I have no issues with my party. Yes, in 2016 there were issues then that were still fresh and lingering. But this time round, I have no petition, I have no disciplinary proceedings within my party. So I'm competent and ready to serve.
I really want that the legislators should be able to debate well, and that after one leaves the Parliament, after your 5 years, you'd be glad to look back into the Hansard and look at your contribution.
According to the NRM Electoral Commission, by closure of business, this is how they stood.
Expression of interest, NRM primaries for speakership of the 11th Parliament. Position, Speaker. Name of aspirant, Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. who came on 19th May 2020. The constituency she represents is Woman MP Kamuli District. Number 2, Jacob L. Olanya. The constituency she represents in Parliament is Omoro County in Omoro District. He came on Friday, 21st May. These are the 2 who have expressed interest for Speaker.
The final endorsement for the 11th parliamentary speakers on the NRM ticket is now a decision which lies in the hands of the party top arms, the Central Executive Committee and the party caucus. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
Now, to that effect, the chairperson of the National Resistance Movement Electoral Commission, Dr. Tanga Odoi, has released the final program for the election of parliamentary speaker. Now, Odoi says that the party caucus will convene this Sunday, 23rd at State House in Entebbe to elect Speaker and Deputy Speaker. Let's take a look at what he says.
Article 3910A of the NRM Constitution, reprint 2020, and Rule 9.5 of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus Rules of Procedure 2014. The NRM Electoral Commission hereby convenes the NRM Parliamentary Caucus of the 11th Parliament to elect flag bearers for positions of Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the 11th Parliament. The date for this election will be Sunday, 23rd, 2021. The venue for this election will be State House in Entebbe. The agenda: 8 to 9 a.m. arrival of delegates at State House in Entebbe. And all these delegates are members of Parliament subscribing to NRM who have been sworn in, unless otherwise advised. 8 to 9 a.m. arrival of delegates. 10 a.m. the NRM National Chairperson will call the caucus to order. 10 a.m. to 5 minutes past 10, the anthems. 10:05 to 10:20, prayers. 10:20 a.m. to 11 a.m., communication for them from the NRM National Chairperson. 11 a.m. to 2, the NRM Electoral Commission will take over. 11 to 2 p.m., the NRM Electoral Commission will take over, will present the candidates. Candidates will address the caucus. Voting will be done, secret ballot, and the declaration of winners or results will be made. At 2 p.m., closure and departure.
Definitely a day to look out for, Sunday, the 23rd of May. Now, in another related development, members of Parliament will on Monday vote for the Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament. The Clerk to Parliament is now in charge of the affair of Parliament until the Speakers are inaugurated. Now, as Ivan Kawa reports, the space for office of Parliament in the 11th Parliament is prepared.
Parliament as of now does not have a Speaker and Deputy Speaker, though all the 529 members of Parliament have been sworn in the wake of an emergency that needs Parliament's intervention. Where the Speaker's office is vacant, the Clerk to Parliament takes charge.
Even the leadership of Parliament handed over to her when they were vacating the offices. So she is that we have a she's now in charge of whatever happens here.
Members of the 11th Parliament will on Monday 24th May vote for the Speaker and Deputy Speaker. The Chief Justice will chair the session in the presence of the Head of State, and this shall be the first sitting of the 11th Parliament.
That is the status quo. After that, there will be a Speaker and Deputy Speaker. The new Speaker will announce the program that whatever is going to follow as soon as he or she is sworn in.
Allocation of office space has been concluded, and upon resumption of business, party whips will allocate offices to members of Parliament.
And that is within the precincts of Parliament nearby. So MPs will have easy access to the Parliament. Where the seat, but the offices will be along the Parliament Avenue. That one has already been worked out, and as soon as they come in, they will occupy the offices.
The 11th Parliament has 529 members of Parliament and cannot fit in the current chamber, which is meant to accommodate 200 MPs. However, the Director Communications and Public Affairs, Helen Nanteza-Kawesa, is optimistic that the construction of a new chamber will address the matter.
We hopefully at the end of the year it will be ready for occupation. Yes, so that one is a step forward. The chamber cannot fit. We would have been having sittings in the chamber ordinarily with limited numbers of MPs. But with the COVID-19 it became worse because it's a closed space. And we were advised by the Ministry of Health not to use it.
A professor at York University, Canada, Varebe Gerard, believes that members of Parliament should be accorded research assistance to influence decisions on policies.
In some developed countries, a member of Parliament has an office that is, and a researcher paid for by the government, right? So this researcher, his work is actually to do more of research for that particular member of Parliament, give a particular member of Parliament information, data that he needs in order to go to the floor of the House and debate from an informed position.
When a member of Parliament requires a research assistant, a research officer is assigned to them to help them do their work.
This all tells you that actually the understanding of issues, the gathering of information that these members of Parliament need in order to make informed debates on the floor of the House is not provided for them.
Much as it's not one-to-one, but there's a fully-fledged department, fully staffed, and it helps in this support in this area.
The laws and bills not passed by the 10th Parliament shall be passed over to the 11th Parliament, and no any such other activity will take place among members of Parliament to hand over office.
The 10th Parliament ended on the 18th on Tuesday this week, and with that we're starting a new chapter.
Ivan Kahwa, UBC News at Parliament.
In another development, residents of Bududa in the Bugiso sub-region of eastern Uganda have been called upon to embrace reconciliation and work for progress. This call follows the conclusion of the swearing-in for the members of parliament, with MPs emphasizing the need for socio-economic transformation. Newly elected and sworn-in member of parliament for Bukigai County, David Wachikona, looks forward to bringing political opponents on board for economic progress. As for residents, they have high expectations in their new leaders, including settling the standoff between residents and the Uganda Wildlife Authority.
Let's work together and see how to proceed. And the people were willing, they were cooperating, and things had started going very well. But you never know what happens in life. Things jumped for 5 years, and this is something we are trying to correct now. Yeah, the competitors, you see, politics is politics. What matters in politics is you go for democracy, the people vote for somebody. If somebody passes, you all become answerable to that one. You say now, so and so has passed, so let's support him and let's see how to proceed. But if that person you want to support is not available, then that's when the problem comes in.
What we're expecting from him as voters is that we want him to settle three things. One, to ensure that Manjesa Road is constructed with tarmac. Two, we want the boundary, wildlife boundary between the national Mount Elko National Park and the people settling National Park. There is a conflict, people have died. So far, people are now imprisoned as we speak right now. We need a resolution by the government.
Honorable Chikona, there was a breach in the Bududa that has been there for many years. When people are looking for the way how to cross River Manafa, but he tried and then lobbied to the government, and eventually the breach was put right, which is going to last for over 250 years, and that is an achievement.
Makerere University has awarded the president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, an honorary doctorate degree. Akinwumi has been recognized for his outstanding dedication towards the transformation of the African continent. Let's take a look at these details.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
The president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, has taken the show at the final day of the 71st graduation ceremony of Makerere University. Dr. Akinwumi, a Nigerian by nationality, was outstanding as he was awarded with an honorary Doctor of Letters of Makerere University. Dr. Akinwumi Adesina threw the audience into extended laughter when he joined the entertainers to dance to the Nigerian Agidiba song, which means God is mighty.
The rest of us, please cheer up.
Dr. Akinwumi Adesina has been recognized for his contribution towards the people of Africa and challenged African leaders to prioritize education for the transformation of Africa.
I see that you pay great attention to female students. 51%, Mr. Vice Chancellor, of your 12,550 graduating students this year are female. Wow, compared to 49% male. Let's applaud the female students. Incredible. But you all need to do more to get more women into master's programs and PhD programs. No bird flies with one wing. Africa will progress faster when there's equality between women, men, and women.
Akinwumi previously served as Nigeria's Minister for Agriculture and Rural Development. In 2010, the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon appointed him as one of the 17 global leaders to spearhead the Millennium Development Goals. The Chancellor Makerere University, Dr. Ezra Suruma, presided over the graduation.
Go from here with faith. Go from here with hope, and go light your candle wherever you find yourself.
Makerere University graduated over 12,000 in different fields like PhDs, masters, diplomas and bachelors.
There have been so many predicaments in life, including strikes. COVID-19 has also kicked in. So a course that was supposed to take us 4 years has gone beyond the normal program. So it is not something that has been easy, but at least we appreciate and thank God.
Those with PhDs have pledged to contribute towards solving society challenges.
So you think ways forward, you think unconventional ways, you think out of the box, you think the box.
That people should look at themselves as belonging to residents, other than looking at themselves as belonging to lineages and ethnicities.
The University Chancellor, Dr. Ezra Suruma, pleaded to support the research agenda, saying it is critical in finding solutions to challenges facing communities. Sandra Kahunde, Adia Nakuti, UBC News.
Now we take you to Western Uganda. Court Martial Division in Hoima has sentenced Private Solomon Baker Bakobe to 35 years for shooting and killing a civilian. Private Solomon Baker Bakobe, a UPDF soldier, shot and killed Davis Bakanoba, who was heading home in Mparo, Hoima East Division, under unclear circumstances.
The Court Martial Division in Hoima has sentenced Private Solomon Baker Bakobe to 35 years in prison after he was found guilty of murder of one civilian. Private Solomon Baker of the 11th Battalion was convicted by the 1st Division Infantry Court Martial sitting in Hoima City on his own plea of guilty for the murder of Davis Bakanova, a resident of Mparo North Cell in Hoima East Division in Hoima City. The court chairman, Colonel Sam Mujenyi, who presided over the court trial, said Private Bakobe, who has been found guilty of murder, will serve his sentence at Hoima Government Prison.
Saziremu Bakoba Solomon Baker ne kusiba kumara emyaka 35 munkomo ya Hoima, enkomo ya government ya Hoima.
Prosecution led by Captain Paul Ruabogo told the court that the UPDF soldier allegedly murdered Davis Bakanova, a resident of Mparo North Cell in Hoima East Division in Hoima City. Prosecution further had that on 4th December 2020, while in Mparo North Cell, Bakobe was attacked by a group of 6 criminals who beat him up and took his money and phone. It's alleged that Bakobe, who was guarding the road construction equipment belonging to the China Railway 5 group, went to his place of residence, putting on his army uniform, and picked his gun before he returned to the trading center to retaliate.
Chairman, in the case here we have here, Bakobe Solomon Baker has proved beyond reasonable doubt on all avenues, and in the quoted case, the convict has no defense available. He pleaded guilty and must be convicted as the law provides.
However, as he pursued the criminals, Bakobe fired bullets in the air, hence a stray bullet hit Bakanova around the head, killing him instantly. The court chairperson, Kano Mujenyi, acting on the evidence produced by prosecution, convicted Bakobe to 35 years in jail to serve as an example to men in uniform who misuse guns. He advised the convict to appeal against the sentence within 14 days. However, relatives to the deceased were not happy about the sentence, but asked the government to give assistance to the orphans of the deceased. Story compiled by George Nionzima for UBC News.
Quite sad right there. Educationists and learners are to be equipped with life skills to educate and have demand-driven skills to solve problems of unemployment by the year 2030. Now, this follows the launch of the Schools 2030 10-year project by the Aga Khan Foundation in East Africa, and in Uganda, it is to start in West Nile and Central Region. Details follow.
Schools 2030 project is a 10-year participatory action, research and learning improvement program based in 1,000 schools in 10 countries. At the launch of the Schools 2030 project in Uganda, the Assistant Commissioner Private Schools Policy Regulations at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Ismail Mulindwa, urged teachers to be prepared and pass the skills acquired to students.
The future of this nation is in our children, and their success is in our hands. We are the teachers, we are the mothers, we are the people who can turn around things. The many complaints you hear people have are coming from the kind of generation of teachers I can't fear to mention this. So we need to empower, we need to get a way of how we change the mindset, the way things are done by our teachers. That's why we are coming up with these many policies.
In Uganda, the project is to be implemented in the West Nile and Central regions first.
Kampala, for some reason, people seem to think it's okay. But there are areas that we know of, like Chivolo, Nakawa. So we are looking out for, I'm sorry to say, the slum areas, the ones that are struggling, where we have a very high dropout rate, and we are supporting that. Now for Arua, they have a very big influx of refugees, and the education system and the classrooms are suffering in there. So for now, we'll start with those geographies.
The coordinator, Schools 2030 in Uganda, Namatov Janat, says there is need for syllabus review and teachers must be able to identify problems and solutions of learners.
I use my own words and say, can we not make the classrooms passive? As Schools 2030, we want to get to a place where we are reigniting the situation, the conversations, and the interaction among teachers and their learners. For us to be able to face the demon, which is children don't have a school, ugly as it sounds. So as a teacher, how do I look in the mirror, look at my demon and say, what do I do about this? But most importantly, how do I engage my learners? Because they're not tables.
The project aims at supporting teachers to come up with innovations in learning and also give opportunities for teachers to meet and share their experiences. The project aims at unpacking the skills of creativity in learning, building relationships to fit in the new generation. Dr. Clophas Mujenyi, the Commissioner Basic Education, says learners are living in a challenging world and this was manifested in the partial COVID-19 period and that the project is timely.
Especially now, given the COVID-19 pandemic, and we feel that every learner right away from nursery up to university needs life skills. Of course, their life skills vary according to the age of the learners, and that's why as the Minister of Education, for example, we have a book on life skills for primary schools, teachers' handbook, which is guiding the teachers at that level.
The first beneficiaries of the school's 2030 project stressed that higher levels of life skills are more predictable than the academic results of students.
The children are going to benefit so much. We would say maybe it would have started in the rural areas, but it's good that it has started in Kampala to have these children well equipped. After here, it can go up to the rural areas. You see, when the Kampala children are well equipped with the technology, with the way of doing things, if they are skilled, even these others in the rural areas can also get the information very easily. They are always linked to their brothers and sisters in the villages.
Attainment of skills by both learners and educationists will impact change to beneficiaries. Sudat Kaye, UBC.
In another development, the president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, has held talks with the Ministry of Finance officials led by the acting secretary to the Treasury, Patrick Ochailap. Dr. Akinwumi reiterated the bank's commitment to propelling Uganda's development agenda, the much-desired middle-income status. On his part, the acting secretary to the Treasury, Patrick Ochailap, briefed the visiting delegation on the progress of the projects currently being financed by the bank. He, however, highlighted that the last 2 years had been challenging and devastating to the economy due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He, however, hailed the African Development Bank's support to the economy. The support from the bank has been geared to transport, energy, water and sanitation, and most recently, the budget support to finance the revenue shortfall. The officials were also in agreement about earlier stakeholder engagement, particularly the Parliament and members of Parliament to be invited to the planned workshop of orient them about the objectives of loans so that they have a quicker approvals on different projects.
Host communities, development partners, 19.
Each household has 3 household members because, like I said, this is a shared learning device. It means every 4 weeks, at least per household, we'll be doing at least 600 per month. And then by the end of the pilot, we're looking at around 3,600 beneficiaries.
New innovations and micro businesses are prone to failure due to limited access of financial support. Startup Uganda is optimistic with these new innovations.
I just came with the country manager. As you know, most of our staff are working from home.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Our boss is here. We have no choice but to come out of our homes.
Yes.
I'm Len Bufo. I'm the Director General for East Africa, based in Nairobi, and supervisor of our operations in 13 countries. So this is my first time. I should have come last year, but we were told to stay home.
Yeah.
And this year I've been saying I have to come, and then my boss says he's coming. I have no choice but to come down. But it's really my pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
We value our relationship with the government of Uganda very much, especially under the leadership of
With that, let's take a short commercial break and we'll be back after these messages.
Today in history.
The assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, former Prime Minister of India, in Sri Perumbadar, Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, India, on 21st May 1991. At least 14 others, in addition to Rajiv Gandhi, were killed. It was carried out by Thenmonzi Rajaratnam, a member of the Sri Lankan separatist group organization Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. At the time, India had just ended its involvement through the Indian peacekeeping force in the Sri Lankan Civil War. Rajiv was an Indian politician who served as the 6th Prime Minister of India from 1984 to 1989. He took office after the 1984 assassination of his mother, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, to become the youngest Indian Prime Minister at the age of 40. His assassination was today in history.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go. MTN.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda together.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, will conduct the National Livestock Census starting on the 24th of May to the 4th of June 2021. The census is aimed at obtaining information on the structure and organization of the livestock sector and will collect data on all livestock types, breeds, and ownership by sex, land ownership, and tenure systems. The livestock census will be conducted in all the 135 districts of Uganda and will collect data from household-based firms as well as private large-scale and institutional firms. The indicators derived from the National Livestock Census will inform evidence-based planning and policy formulation. This is to inform and request all stakeholders at national, local government, sub-county, parish levels and all farmers to cooperate with enumerators and provide accurate information. For inquiries, please call 0757 779992 or 077 3317 660.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome back. It's still the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. Also online on YouTube, particularly under the name tag UBC TV Uganda. We now take you to the world of business. Ugandan innovators have come up with a new financial technology to bridge the gap between refugees and host communities. This business enterprise is being supported by Startup Uganda and the UN Capital Development Fund. Let's take a look at those details.
To relieve dependence of refugees on host communities, development partners have come up with initiatives of including refugees in financial-related cycle. It has been realized that refugees are urgently in need of digital financial literacy for partly self-reliance.
While the rest of us are using digital platforms to improve our livelihoods and our well-being, there are those who are really in danger of being left behind. And so refugees are some of those groups. And so the focus on those underserved communities is really to ensure that indeed we are building an inclusive digital economy.
Young innovators have presented new ideas to provide financial health to the medium and small-scale enterprises in refugee communities. The focus is more on those which were exposed to the severe impacts of COVID-19.
Each household has 3 household members because, like I said, this is a shared learning device. It means every 4 weeks, at least per household, we'll be doing at least 600 per month. And then by the end of the pilot, we're looking at around 3,600 beneficiaries.
New innovations and micro businesses are prone to failure due to limited access of financial support. Startup Uganda is optimistic with these new innovations to provide relief to these vulnerable.
In a country like Uganda, where we're still growing our digital movement, and there's so many infrastructures that needs to be worked on, so those ideas need a lot of human-centered design and an approach that involves their end users.
Apart from refugees, stakeholders in these innovations are targeting to reach rural areas with new solutions to cater for agricultural and financial challenges of the day.
Wanted to inform farmers on different things, and let's say they're already in groups, you can use this to basically as a shared learning device.
The idea is that they should be able to get their idea to a place where they've proved the business model, they've showcased it in order to attract additional funding.
At the initial stage of these innovation challenges, 150 startups applied, and this is the semi-final stage where 9 teams have presented their solutions. Among these, the best 3 are to be picked and be given a modest financial support to pilot their innovations to reach a wide range. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Now, Uganda Investment Authority has embarked on the sensitization exercise of local investors in a bid to strengthen local investment in the country. Deputy Director, Business Development at Uganda Investment Authority, Peter Muramira, says that strengthening of local investment is intended to enhance the competition with foreign investment in the respective regions of the country.
Uganda Investment Authority has started collaborations with the local leaders for the establishment of the district investment committees intended to improve and strengthen local investment. In the bid to promote local investment, the authority tasked the committee to identify land for construction of an industrial park in West Nile region, where industries can be strategically situated on the basis of economic activities.
We are working hand in hand with local governments to ensure that we re-establish the district investment committees to establish what are called regional business development service centers. Regional business development service centers shall be the hotspot for facilitating, for monitoring, and for ensuring that the domestic investor is strengthened.
During their field tour to the West Nile region, Peter Muramira disclosed that Arua is one of the strategic markets for Uganda's neighbors like South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Central African Republic.
That Arua is at that point where it is the haven for over 4 markets. To the left, you have DRC. To the north, you have Southern Sudan, up Central Republic and Chad, and to the left, a direct route to Kenya. So, our intention here, in those few words, is to ensure that the local development, the local investors feels that they are supported. We strengthen the domestic investor, because there's been this perception that Uganda Investment Authority focuses only on foreign investment.
Nonetheless, many local investors in West Nile have always complained of unreliable electricity, poor road networks to the markets, a matter that has in one way affected their business. Uganda Investment Authority has now pledged to set up an investment park in West Nile region. Prose Chikabi is the Senior Investment Executive Investment Promotion and Development at Uganda Investment Authority.
Also had engagement with several investors, and some of the key aspects they are telling us in terms of development of West Nile region are the key road networks to the key markets. We have been able to identify 3 roads. I don't have them off cuff. 3 major roads to different key markets that will continue to facilitate business for.
West Nile region is one of Uganda's potential investment regions, given its strategic location.
And now on the international scene, a ceasefire between Israel and the Palestine militant group Hamas in the Gaza Strip has come into effect. The ceasefire began early on Friday, bringing to an end 11 days of fighting in which more than 250 people were killed, most of them in Gaza. Both Israel and Hamas claimed victory in the conflict. The truce faced an early test on Friday when fresh clashes broke out at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in occupied East Jerusalem. And these are the details.
Israel and Gaza have reached a ceasefire. This hardly earned ceasefire was mediated by Egypt and came into effect early Friday morning. Israel approved the truce on Thursday. Hamas, which rules the Palestinian enclave of Gaza, said it had halted firing rockets. However, both sides said they stood ready to retaliate to any truce violation by the other. Israel had targeted Gaza with airstrikes and artillery since May the 10th, with Palestinian side firing rockets into Israel from the narrow strip. Gaza health officials said more than 230 Palestinians, including 65 children, had been killed. Israel says a dozen people on its side died.
Quite sad what's happening right there. Now, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Thursday welcomed the ceasefire agreement reached between Israel and Palestinian militant groups Hamas, which rules the Gaza Strip, following 11 days of escalating tension between the two sides. He made a statement a few minutes before the ceasefire took effect at 2 a.m. Palestine time on Friday. According to the latest media reports, at least 233 Palestinians, including more than 60 children and at least 12 Israelis, have been killed since violence erupted near the Gaza border on May 10th. Guterres extended his deepest condolences to all the victims of the violence and their loved ones across Israel and the occupied Palestine territory. And in the world of sports, Uganda's quest for success at the upcoming Olympics has been boosted by another funding from Absa Bank. The bank had already committed 54 million Ugandan shillings to the cause of the athletes and has now added a further 26. Details follow.
With exactly 63 days to the delayed Tokyo 2020 Olympics, Uganda's athletes have been further boosted with a cash injection from Absa Bank. The bank that had hitherto pumped 54 million shillings into Uganda's preparations has sunk a further 26 million shillings, with each of the already qualified athletes getting 1 million shillings on their Absa accounts.
We are so grateful for the Absa, for the support, and I keep on praying that I wish more companies could come up, because always we need support so that to give in our best.
Absa Bank Managing Director Mumba Kalifungwa says that they plan to do more than offering money, but also counseling services on how best these athletes can save for their future.
As a financial partner, we are going to tap from our expertise to help Team Uganda to develop their financial literacy skills, to empower each member to make sure the right financial decisions, you make the right financial decisions as you plan for your future ahead.
Thus far, Uganda has qualified about 25 athletes, including Jacob Kiplimo and swimmers Atuhaire Ambala and Kirabo Namotebi.
For the team, out of the 25, 13 are ladies and 12 are boys or men. So for the first time in our team, which is the largest team so far, we have more ladies representing Uganda than men. So Catherine and Winnie and others are leading the charge of the transformation of Ugandan sports.
The Tokyo 2020 Olympics start 23rd July till 8th August. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Furthermore, after authorization of the Ministry of Health and National Council of Sports, the 19th edition of the Corporate League is set to start. It will be conducted within the COVID-19 protocols, and vaccination is a must.
After more than 457 days of inactivity as a result of COVID-19, the Corporate League is to witness action on 30th May 2021. The Corporate League in its legal status is a body responsible for organizing sports competition amongst various corporate bodies. So far, 30 of the 75 member corporate bodies have confirmed participation in the tournament that will start with football. But with COVID protocols, especially vaccination, a must at Legends Rugby Ground.
It's true. Actually, it is exactly 457 days since we last had our corporate league in Chambogo. And finally, we are here. We are going to kick off. We would like to thank the Ministry of Health, National Council of Sports, for a go-ahead that we can actually resume our league this month, 30th May, at Legends Lugogo. And our main focus actually is to see that we do a mass vaccination for each and every member who is subscribing to this league, so that with the time we actually go ahead with what we had planned for them.
Every team is expected to have a minimum of 20 players for this 19th edition of the league that will be played with no fans. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
That brings us to the end of our 10 o'clock edition of News Tonight today. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories, then we can sign out. In our headlines tonight, Jacob Olanya picks nomination forms for the job of Speaker. In a related matter, MPs to vote for their speakers and deputy speakers on Monday. UPDF officer sentenced to 35 years over murder. And Team Uganda gets an Absa boost ahead of the 2020 Olympics. Well, thank you for joining us. You've been a lovely audience with me, Wadulo, Mark, Arnold, Mugalu, Mohammed on sign language. Please do be reminded that COVID-19 is still real, so do care to follow the SOPs or go get vaccinated if you must. Then all shall be well. Thank you for joining us, and have yourselves a good night.
Welcome to English in a Minute. The beginning of spring means sunshine, flowers, and sneezing. Are Jonathan and Anna going to discuss how they don't have allergies? Not cool, guys.
Hey Anna, tell me how the bread baking contest went.
Jonathan, I didn't win. I should have, but I didn't.
Well, what's that trophy for?
Oh, this? I came in second.
Oh, stop. Second place is nothing to sneeze at.
It is when there are only 2 people in the contest.
The phrase "nothing to sneeze at" means that something is not small or unimportant. It should be taken seriously. Sneezing. And that's English in a Minute.
The Value-Added Tax Act 1996 requires that the buyer's details are indicated on a tax invoice required to be issued by every VAT-registered seller.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together. Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Behold, the key to the demise of all monsters.